He was formerly in anti-submarine warfare, then recruited by the NSA. He headed up one of their internal security operations. And he is the consummate original NSA whistleblower, testifying to parliaments, the EU, Parliament, you name it, Congress. And he basically has broken, I'd say, half of what we know, along with James Bamford and others being part of the other half. And I'm not poo-pooing Snowden. It's just that he's the proto-Snowden. But he did it back when they didn't arrest every whistleblower for exposing crime. Since then, I just marvel at everything he talks about coming true. I want to talk to Wayne Madsen first about The Purge. Dinesh D'Souza had movies coming out to try to unify America. He had another film they were going to work on later, I've been told by high-level sources, about Hillary. He's now been indicted on petty stuff, pled not guilty. The governor of Virginia could beat Hillary. He's been indicted. The Veritas Project, or Project Veritas, the governor's preparing basically to indict them with subpoenas. So they're going after everybody. And Bob Barr last week warned of this. I talked about it before it even happened. What do you know about the purge going on and this next phase of what Obama may try to do? Because he's openly behaving as a dictator now. I thought he'd leave office and just transfer dictatorial power to the executive, the special interest wanted. Why would the system gamble and get this naked? Or are the Clintons doing a power move, trying to actually take over? Wayne Madsen, what is your high-level inside intel telling you?
Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same, as the French always say. Look, the second term is always a pitfall for a lot of presidents. They get a little too cocky in their second term. They think they're they can do anything they want. Look what happened to Richard Nixon. Look what happened to Ronald Reagan. Nixon with Watergate, Ronald Reagan with Iran-Contra. There's going to be an attempt now to create a long-lasting legacy for Obama. And, look, these second-term guys think that they're pretty invulnerable, after all. We've got a lot of history to back that up. I noticed yesterday the Virginia Senate went to the Democrats by a 11-vote margin. You know, these close elections are rather, I think they're, to see so many elections within a razor's edge, I just don't think that's statistically possible to see so many, not just in this country, but around the world. I think that they're still fixing these elections. So we've got that going on as well.
I agree with you that it's a power grab ahead of trying to get Hillary in, but there's something different. It's so rapacious, so aggressive. Do you think there's any chance they might stage domestic false flags and then try to keep Obama in office?
Well, it's funny you mention that. Look at the report today of what happened with Hamid Karzai. Our puppet in Afghanistan, but even sometimes puppets get a mind of their own. Hamid Karzai is now accusing the United States of staging false flag terrorist attacks that are being blamed on the Taliban to undermine his regime. So, we're told that false flags don't exist, that this is in the realm of conspiracy theories. Well, I guess if that's true, we've got a new conspiracy theorist in Hamid Karzai, somebody who was groomed by the United States intelligence services, placed in power, and been maintained in power all these many years by the United States at a very expensive cost in both blood and treasure.
If we describe this as a football game, how is it going for the different corrupt regimes? Because people are waking up more than ever, but at the same time, they are just dissolving the basic liberties, putting currency controls in, capital controls in. We see the clamps going on right now. Why do you think that's happening?
Well, I think these governments, look, the jet set just met again in Davos at their annual love-in. And, of course, who was there this year? The new president of Iran, Rouhani. So it looks like Iran is now going to be brought into the fold.
Symbols are powerful, and the globalists have hijacked the symbols of America. They've turned them into their own symbols. Well, we are restoring the idea of the true republic, not the counterfeit globalist empire, by promoting the icon George Washington and others. That's why we're rolling out an 100% made in America line of incredible pro-liberty apparel. We are repopularizing liberty. We are helping fellow Americans rediscover what made this country great. We are the spirit of 1776. We are 1776 worldwide. We are all brothers and sisters in arms in the animating contest of liberty in the long march towards humanity's ultimate destiny of freedom. Visit madein1776.com today and vote with your dollars to promote truly made in America, high-quality products, and promote the ideals of liberty. I heard a local talk show host yesterday in Austin defending the NSA warrantlessly spying on people, saying, well, I trust them. They're the good guys. Just go ahead and spy on me. No, they're not the good guys. Even if they were good guys, you create an omnipresent system, bad guys will get control of it, and it will be abused. That's why free countries don't have that. But really, it's a sense of cowardice out there. I remember the Houston police chief 5 years ago on local television saying, we're going to put cameras in all your houses and watch you for your own good. People said, that's crazy. Well, they were just getting you ready, like MSNBC saying your kids belong to the state. The 20th time you hear it, it doesn't sound as crazy. They're conditioning us. They're using psychological warfare. So we're like, well, of course smart meters track everything you do and tax you. 10 years ago, I'd tell people, and I was crazy, it didn't exist, because they knew that was 1984 10 years ago. Now it's like, well, of course it tracks and watches you. Of course the camera on the laptop watches you, and of course the schools watch your kids, and of course the police come in your house without a warrant, and of course we do forced inoculations, and of course all this is happening. Imagine living in a glass house. I think I'm going to send out my reporters to do a man on the street in Austin and to the trendy area and say, we want you to live in glass houses. You know, just in case something bad happens, we can see it going on. And I bet if we say it's for Obama, people will sign. Because they want to be trendy. I mean, it'd be racist if they didn't. Or maybe go out and say, you know, we want to make people wear clear clothing so that we can see if they have a gun on them. And maybe even have a woman wearing a tiny bikini under a plastic see-through raincoat to illustrate it. That'll get mega millions of views right there to then educate sheeple that wouldn't normally watch a video like that to say, this is how we're going to dress down to make sure there's no weapon. And like the TSA has said, and the police, we'll show clips of the state police, we need to have proctology exams now. Because there could be a bomb in anybody's butt. This is a total overthrow of all common sense. Wayne Madsen, I want to get into your geopolitical breakdown right now. We're getting into Ukraine and more in the state of the world. But before we do that, because I digressed off into this, seeing this new article that just went up on Infowars.com by Steve Watson, spy on thy neighbor as thyself is the whole of the law. That is the golden rule. Big brother is my king, my lord, my helper. Unto you I give all. Please stomp my face in. Oh, I love you. Big brother, double plus good. Wayne Madsen, I want to ask you the question here. What do you call this total transformation and the NSA coming out of the closet and all their lies exposed, but they just double down and now, oh, we're going to watch you in your house for your own good. What is happening here, Wayne Madsen?
Well, it's a global panopticon where nobody will have any privacy. A panopticon is a structure, no matter where you are in that structure, you're going to be seen from a central location. So and we would have known none of the details of this capability had it not been for all the technical diagrams and PowerPoint slides and other documents released by Ed Snowden. The latest one is this operation called Squeaky Dolphin. I mean, they come up with some of the strangest names for these cover terms for these intelligence systems. You know, it makes people think of Flipper instead of Big Brother. But we've got that now evidence that NSA is spying 24/7 in real time on Flickr, on PhotoBucket, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. and it goes on and on. So anything you do with the internet is now being surveilled by NSA. So all these NSA apologists out there, including this gang that you and I and the rest of every American taxpayer pays for, this gang up at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island, two professors, and I'll name them, Tom Nichols and John Schindler, are constantly berating journalists for citing all this type of surveillance, illegal surveillance being conducted by NSA. They get away with it on our dime, and I have protested to the superintendent at the Naval War College. That guy, Admiral Carter, needs to have his star pulled. He's allowing this national security staff at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island, to front for the NSA. And what
That's right. And, of course, it's totally illegal to have the Pentagon operating domestically. But 3 months ago, they announced they're going to reach out to us with a PSYOP to alternative real media because we're actually threatening what they're doing. And it's just an incredible precedent, Wayne, when they get up on TV and Clapper goes, we don't spy on any Americans. It's a total lie. He doesn't get in trouble for perjury to Congress, a felony. It's rapidly expanding, and it's all admitted what they do. The entire internet architecture has been built by DARPA and spec'd by DARPA for a system to predict the future to the point of Amazon shipping your order before you order it.
That's right. And you know, I got a simple challenge for the Naval War College. They claim they're only doing this in the interest of academic freedom. Well, the Naval War College is the U.S. Navy. It's part of the U.S. Navy. It's not Penn State. It's not some private school somewhere, Harvard or Yale. If they're interested in academic freedom, let the superintendent of the Naval War College establish a group of offices for you and I up there so we can counter every one of those pro-NSA professors and do it on their nickel, which is our nickel. So, you know, if he's interested in academic freedom, I put that challenge forward to him.
Well, I know this is stuck in your craw what they're doing, but they're not having any effect. They're pathetic. So, I mean, I think they should just continue their treasonous activity openly so we can identify them. I mean, my issue is that, you know, let us have it, scum. I mean, we're here openly being proven right. We're rising. You're falling. You picked the wrong team. You've dishonored yourself. You've dishonored the country. You've dishonored your family. So, you know, go from us. Lick the hand that feeds you. Now your chains sit lightly upon you. Shifting gears into the geopolitical. And then I want to get back. First off, NSA. You're usually telling us days or weeks before. Like you said, get ready for them spying on the Vatican. And 3 days later it comes out, you know, they're spying on the Vatican. I mean, so you've got your ear to the ground. What's the next shoes to drop with the NSA?
Look, we only have about 2% of the documents that Snowden is said to have retrieved from all those various NSA databases. I think what we're going to hear, if we are allowed to see these, and these are, let's face it, these are only being released in piecemeal fashion to many different media organizations. It's really hard to look at these in total. But wait till we start seeing some stuff about historical documents from the NSA on from 9/11, for example. I think we're gonna see that Cheney and the rest of that gang, Rumsfeld, lied, as we all said they did. But I think that's going to be backed up with some evidence from a system at NSA called Criticom, the Critic system. This is used to send critical messages about hijacked airplanes, for example. So
it's kind of like Nixon got hung and on his own petard whenever his own tapes burned him. That's right.
So if this stuff, I can't believe he doesn't have that stuff. I think he knew exactly what to go after. In addition, you know, squeaky clean and egotistical giraffe and all this other stuff. I would think that the 9/11 stuff, and he's already said, Snowden's already said, you know, that he's got this doomsday thing. If they go after him, the stuff's going to be released. I think that's probably what we're talking about. When it's released, I don't know. I just wish this stuff had just been released in full to somebody like John Young at Cryptome, who I would note is also now being attacked by that Naval War College.
Yeah, let's get John Young back on the show, guys, ASAP from Cryptome. By the way, if I was Snowden, I'd never come back. I mean, the globalists are never going to let him get away with what he's done. That's too big an example to other people to be a hero. They're going to try to, through back channels, claim he's a double operative or a Russian spy, all this complete crud. The Russians tried to get rid of him. The Russians know what the NSA is doing.
Yeah, last month, Alex, I reported on an attempt by the British Embassy in Moscow to try to rendition Snowden out of Moscow, and it failed because I went on Russian television, the Russian language television, not RT, Russia One News, and said, look, this is the plan. It involves the MI6 at the British Embassy. I named the MI6 head at the embassy as being in charge of this. They were going to try to use another American who worked at NSA in Moscow as a lure for Snowden. It failed. And then we heard about the attempts to maybe try to kill him. But Putin has already given him now permanent asylum. It was 1 year, but he's extended that permanently. I think he's best staying in Russia. I would certainly do it if I were in his shoes.
And by the way, now I guess they're giving him Russian security because of these threats that you broke. Just like you broke that they had tapped the undersea cables, said exactly which ones. You said the Germans had tapped the Mediterranean, that they were involved. Merkel then came out and claimed, oh, they're spying on me. But everything you said in The Guardian turned out to be true. But instead of saying, oh, you're right, they make fun of you on CNN and then basically deep six the article.
Well, and that's because it's not just the NSA that has this propaganda operation. Anybody who criticizes anything that Obama's involved with, so it was CNN and Daily Beast, which is the Daily Beast might as well be an Obama newsletter. You know, why don't they just have him as the editor of it? You know, he has some experience. He supposedly edited newsletters at Business International Corporation when he worked for the CIA. But Putin is now, because the Sochi Olympics start on February 7th. Look, Ukraine is to the west of Sochi, Georgia's to the right, and you've also got all those Muslim republics in the Caucasus. They are really, and then you got Prince Bandar following through with his threat to disrupt the Sochi Olympics.
Let's stop right there. This is the one thing I wish I had the money to do. I'd have like 2 analysts who sit in there and record and write down everything you say and our other guests, and when it comes true, cover it. It was 3-4 months ago, you reported on the Russian news that Bandar had said that he was going to start activating al-Qaeda ahead of the Olympics and during it to ruin the Winter Olympics. If they didn't back off in Syria, they've now gone ahead with that. I mean, it's just, tell us what's coming next then, because you've been breaking all this.
Well, I think the Russians are very concerned. So now they've allowed the U.S. to station law enforcement officials in Russia, in Sochi. You got the U.S. Navy that's going to be right off the coast. The Russians were concerned at first. Now they're more welcoming of that presence. But I would be very concerned if I were the Russians that this U.S. military and law enforcement presence isn't used to facilitate something in Sochi rather than prevent it. So I would be very concerned. Obviously,
the Russians are as smart as we are. So let me ask this. Why are they allowing those ships in? I mean, what's the point of that? Just, I guess, to just take the high road, or what's the point?
Oh, if anything happens, they can say, look, the blame goes around. It wasn't just our security that failed. Look, at the U.S. had their people here as well. But
oh, I get it. They're hedging bets and spreading the blame.
Exactly, which you might expect them to do. But, Sochi, it's such, the whole attempt is with the boycott because of Russia's policies on gays and all this other thing. Now we've got the Soros topless trollops, the female women protesting against Putin.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I don't want Russia to run Ukraine, and I don't want the EU, that's like a new Soviet empire, sucking them dry. Ukrainian for the Ukrainians. The Russians have backed off Ukraine. Now they've got Soros, when they voted a month ago not to join the EU, literally trying to burn that place down. He is a seditious little bastard since the days of him being a main collaborator with the Nazis, hunting down Jews. And if you point that out, which he admitted on CBS 60 Minutes, you're called anti-Semitic by the ADL.
Oh, that's right. I mean, Soros is what Soros is. He's a provocateur. He makes money. Remember, he has a hedge fund called the Quantum Fund. When there's any kind of disruption in places like Ukraine or Russia or anywhere else, he makes money on that. And he comes across as this progressive. He's not a progressive. He's the perfect villain for the next James Bond movie. As a matter of fact, he may have already been the villain in Quantum of Solace. I don't think it was a mistake that Quantum was the villain in the last couple of James Bond movies.
That's right, and they're trying to shut off the water to quadruple the prices.
That's right. That's right.
Which is an actual scam he's run in Latin America over and over again.
And the whole idea of getting Ukraine in the EU is to get them to start accepting genetically modified foods from Monsanto. Ukraine is the breadbasket for Russia, and what better way to penetrate Russia? And China also buys wheat and soy from Ukraine. So what a better way to penetrate these two markets that right now ban genetically modified.
Well, here's the deal. If Ukrainians want to overthrow their government, that's their issue. But when it's a foreign orchestrated, those protesters are on record working for foundation groups. They're basically enemy soldiers.
Yeah, and you know the street brochures handed out to the protesters in Maidan Square in Kiev are in Ukrainian, but they're the same leaflets that were handed out to those in Tahrir Square in Egypt, and we know how well that one turned out. Yeah,
trying to turn those countries over to al-Qaeda. But look, none of that's going well for them. I would say Brzezinski's operation right now, I'd give him a C-. It's almost an F.
Absolutely. I mean, Brzezinski is a well-known nationalist, Polish nationalist, who's always had a thing about bringing down Russia. And you know why people like him and Albright, who had a problem with the Slavic countries in the Balkans, Yugoslavia, why these people are allowed to be secretaries of state and national security advisors are beyond me. We can throw Henry Kissinger in the mix. They bring their baggage from their home countries. They might as well come over on one of those tramp steamers with all the baggage and luggage that they bring into our national office. And then they bring all that, and it affects our foreign policy in a very adverse way.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a new listener, folks, we're not left or right here. It's about what's justice and the high ground, the moral high ground. We're builders, not destroyers. We want to build America, build the rest of the world, work together. Then if you double cross us, we crush you. But we're sick of being the bad guys while the very same programs of deindustrialization that the West is using against other people are being used against us. These are anti-prosperity thugs running things. They're gangsters, and we're done with it. And they're trying to cause World War III with the Russians. And, you know, it's time they go down.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.